The only rumor that's out there is the OBJ possibly coming to Kansas City. There's been a linkage over the last few years of that happening. And obviously, you and I have talked about bringing him in on a 1-year, $3 million deal, something small, maybe an incentive-laden kind of deal. But Flapjack City has a question here. Let's go. How important is veteran wide receiver leadership in the wide receiver room? I feel like we need OBJ to show these new bloods how to be dogs on the field. JD, what's your take on that whole thing?
So veteran wide receiver leadership is extremely important, especially with young guys in the room. And we have a bevy of young guys just littered in the entire room of wide receivers. We got a young coach who does a good job, has a little bit of some family background and history here in the NFL, with his dad, Kansas City with Andy Reid. So I know he's going to be bringing his stuff that's going to be good for him. But a veteran presence, a guy that can kind of speak their language, who's playing with them, talk about route running, doing all the things they're doing, is vital, especially for young guys. Not to mention not on the field, but also off the field too. How you carry yourself in the media, all those things do matter. All those things do matter. And so when you have somebody who has that type of knowledge, the awareness, the intellect, the patience, you can't really put a value on it. You try to, but when you got a guy that could come in and settle guys down, put them where they need to be, that's important. That's important. And so we don't know if OBJ is going to be that guy. We have no idea. Like Marcus was saying, we don't know what he wants. We don't know what the price point is. Everybody wants to come here and play with Patrick Mahomes. Everybody does. The question is, what is it going to cost to do that, right? So we know Veach is somebody who is very frugal. He wants to make sure he gets good deals. He wants to make sure that when you come here, you're going to be bought in. You're going to be bought into the entire system. And so not saying that OBJ is not that guy, but this is something that we'll just have to see.
Yep.
The veteran presence is absolutely important. It's vital.
Yeah, it's huge. And I will say there are two things with that. Hollywood Brown, he's a young guy, like 26, 20 going on 27. Still a young guy, but he has been in the league for some time now. This will be his 5th year in the league. So he's been around the block a little bit. And I'm not saying he's not a 31-year-old, 32-year-old guy. No, he's not like an OBJ type as far as that kind of being a veteran, but he's been around. It's not like he's like a second-year guy like Sky Moore or some of the other guys we already have in the wide receiver room, right? So he does bring a little bit more to the table. But yes, OBJ would be someone, and obviously the price has got to be right.
Shoot, look, the 5 years he's in the NFL is a long time in a way, especially where he's been. He's been in Baltimore, had to deal with some business things, decisions out there with them and upper management. Goes to Arizona, under a lot of quarterbacks, new offensive coordinators. He's had a few of those. And so different settings kind of give you different perspectives, right? And we can put it all together. One of the things, and I know you said this in one of the tweets about what impressed you was some of his route running and whatnot, and how he was, I don't know what some of the adversity he went through, like sleeping on couches and some of the games, had to walking up the field. Which is not necessarily just particular to him, because a lot of people have stories like that of adversity. To me, what showed me the maturation process was his response to it. To me, that was like, oh, okay. Now, this is what when I see somebody comment in a particular way, it shows me a level of humility, humbleness, some modesty. And you only get those things through adversity, through when things don't go right, with how you want things to go for you in your life or even in your career. And so I see that transition. Like I said, man, his response to it was incredible. We're just talking about how guy was working in his life. He sees, the path that now how the door says open. Sometimes and the veil could be lifted off your eyes from where you were in college, you get to the NFL, or what you think the business really is. And so you realize it's not really a wonderful business. It can be, okay? You keep your nose and head to the grindstone and you go do what you need to do. But still things may not always fall out the way that you want to. So things can derail your career. Injuries or somewhere you may not be as you feel like it is welcoming. But when you live through it, when you start seeing it, when you're able to take the time to soak it in, then you have a whole different perspective on things. And I think that he's at that point right now. So that was what was more impressive to me, Marcus, other than some of the things he did physically on the field, because we all know if you come and play in the NFL, you should be physically gifted. Teams are taking you because you do have this physical attribute to you, right? To me, it's the mental attribute, the maturation process, to me, is a more important thing. So, yeah, no doubt about it. He is kind of that veteran guy. I will say that he'll give some of these young guys some good knowledge that they need. No doubt about it. So,
for sure. Yeah, and that whole clip that was or that article that was from his pre-draft stuff going into 2019, and that was Lincoln Riley talking about why they wanted him at Oklahoma, and because he talked about, living on a popped air mattress, going to and from his job and stuff, and also he went through as a high school kid and how he had so much on his plate. And like you said, JD, it's not his story is not unique to just him.
Mm-hmm.
But this is also, and especially 2019, this is for a lot of guys who weren't privileged with the NIL stuff back in the day, So like, there's a lot of guys that go through this stuff, but to see him do that and to see him come into the NFL and deal with adversity in a different light, right? Playing an offense that he wasn't the top guy, or not, he wasn't the top guy. He was the number one guy there. He was the only receiver in the Lamar Jackson era who has 1,000 yards. So, I mean, he was a top guy, but he wasn't utilized in the same way that he was utilized in the Lincoln Riley's offense. He goes to Arizona. He plays like 8 different quarterbacks to Kyler Murray's injuries. So yeah, I mean, he had to deal with
8 different quarterbacks.
it was Clayton Tune, Colt McCoy, Murray, Trey
Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs, Trace McSorley. So that's like 6 quarterbacks right there.
Hey, God, you said 8. I thought you was,
No, exaggerate a little bit. Yeah, I think it's 7 at that point. But
10 guys you start throwing to you. Nah, but yeah,
it's tough, man. Like, especially when he wanted to go to Arizona to play with his quarterback that he had in college. So it's like, man, that's tough. But yeah, so and the stuff he said, we'll get into more of Hollywood Brown later on the show. But his interview that he did this week really painted a picture of kind of what you mentioned here. He said when the Chiefs were interested in 2019, that was during the whole Tyreek Hill drama, which we didn't know what was going on at the time. The team kind of suspended him for a little bit away from the team as they got more details from the police. Drafted Hardman in the second round that draft. There's rumors that we were going to go up to get Hollywood. Didn't happen, but he said we were talks to him at that time. And then when this free agency happened, he said they were going hard at him. And he said when the Kansas City Chiefs call you, you listen. And I'm assuming that's going to happen with OBJ and other guys too.
Oh, that without a doubt is a call that you do take. Okay, that's not one that you say, hey, I don't know, we'll see what's going on somewhere else. You need to listen. It's like the old E.F. Hutton. I don't know if you remember that. You might be too young for E.F. Hutton. E.F. Hutton was like one of those things you had to listen for. I forgot how the commercial goes, but it's something about like you had to listen. That's E.F. Hutton. Yeah. So older people will know what I'm talking about in the chat. The E.F. Hutton deal. So.
Mm-hmm. And I will say also, too, with the Hollywood Brown, we'll get into that. But as far as OBJ-wise, OBJ seeing what Hollywood Brown's contract was, that'll be a little indicator like, hey, man, like, even this young guy who's got a lot more football left than you do, he took a deal that's about $6.5 million worth up to 11. If you come on the squad, you're probably going to take a little bit less than that. So, I mean, guy like OBJ, if he wants to play with Kansas City, he's going to see that as an example of how much is being paid out from Kansas City.
So I think OBJ's he's in a position where he got some good money from Baltimore last year, and he still can go and teams are going to cover him. I seen this now. Somebody said Miami has been talking to Odell Beckham Jr. And so they're a contender. We understand that teams that are in contention is somewhere he's saying, well, look, I can help you get over the hump. So if you go down there, right, and you already got Waddle, you got Tyreek, and now you got a Jody Fortson, you know what I'm saying, and you get Odell Beckham, how much better can you get? And so teams are trying to build around because I said that we are the standard. Everybody's thinking about playing the Chiefs. When you play the Chiefs, this is what you have to do. Go get you some firepower, right? Get as much as you can. Get somebody who's going to be able to get out to Patrick Mahomes to stop what he can do. And so that's what teams have been doing. They're building all these people up to talk about stopping the Kansas City Chiefs because that's who they expect to be in the Super Bowl, right? You're talking about the thing last night me and Chris was on. we were talking about how Philadelphia has been getting guys. Same thing. And I said, I don't see how Philly's not over the cap, man. They get somebody every week coming in and give them a huge $1 million deal. And I'm just like, where's all the money coming from? You have to go look at the books, man. They might be cooking some things up there in Philadelphia.
I think what might have helped them this year was Cox and Kelsey retiring. So maybe that helped them.
It helped them. Yeah, definitely. That helped them. But I was just talking about it's hard to replace a Jason Kelsey, but they could be going after somebody in the draft. There's a couple of centers out there too, from what I hear. Yeah. Wendy, what's up, Wendy? Philly is spending crazy. Yes, they are. That's what they've been doing. So
we'll see with this OBJ. I mean, that'd be amazing if we were to get OBJ and Hollywood Brown this offseason and then draft a receiver. But then they because the questions of wait, it's a way too crowded receiver room. Then I don't know what's going to happen with the guys who were on that in the receiver room that from this past season, the Justin Watsons of the world, the Kadarius Tonys, the Sky Moores. What's going to happen with those guys if you bring in 4 guys, whatever? I mean, I don't know, but that's a question for later on, and we'll talk more about that after the draft. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.